么着生气。嗯嗯，我看了蛮见多，也是够长时间里面，我当时脑去的，是女的。到了当不来去别摘，诺不来去别给，他的话当他们前别，我的就不来去吧，他们去接触去别，马那么开当。ஞான் பேசும் தாம் தேவா தாந்தேன் துங்கரதான்றி ஞொர்துலானா மேபரயாம் தாபர ஜோபே சாஞ்சோரன் போச்சே தோபர சாய் தால தாமர ஜிபேஜா ஜிபே கே தர்வா தாம் ஜே ஜெமே வர்து ஜுபர ஜிபா தாம் ஜே ஜே சோ ஜிபே 마에 남가당 냠베 섬젠 담제 대와당 된 동아라당 제 녀르들라나 메바라양 바바라 조베 장저른 보체 도바라 자 이미
Ako, I read. Okay. All modern sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience. May they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment.
Te sama je vardu lunga izon ge wala goro ma she vardu lunga izon ge wala goro tu te rin song de nyma sang da zam je vardu lunga izon ge wala goro.
For that purpose, until I attain Buddhahood, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. Until death, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. From today until this time tomorrow, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue.
노진 산전대로 나로당 매다고 파든지 변공 가리스면 자벨라 메샤 자유라마에 them 최종나 서로한데서 다주 진제로 야 전에 다 가서 테러와 초바에 저게 휴니 부마인데 그만 세시 나라 네 지심라 제발라 게기제로 게나야 정말 총롱을 쇼디리다 너 게일 거리젠다고 스트레 와드네 지심라 레바다 대류 지상체 다 로주 진짜 로주 망보 제 로주 망보 커서는 지수 말하래 봐. 나 자만 총론 쇼 대류. 되네. 상황 사야다 파쇼. 치료 얼마다야 신인정. 추구양 자자만 도. 샤지 메디 되네 지수 말하래 봐. 다제 대인 가랑 로데 당디 시장 도상. 로 당디 시장 도상. 다 신인 로 되게 추 그런 거这就是那啥怕的新州送的话，我真的新州送的，真的新州送的龙口清不修，在家们老下的现在州送的，新送的就是空的热，那么咋解决哇？这龙气热送的新龙气在这里起到下，这就是么呢？呀，他开始那些从嘛新干的新气，他龙气的热干的热气在怕当多。我这当车队真的。就是嘛那边他说破叫我有啥的，这在那么些长毛机弄这些的，这全把套送上这下是吧？ 真的全把错躺在社里，真的在那批基本上是瞧你妈的下，现在热的呀，现在点拖了吧，热错了，现在是去。我到这就被马把车呢，马把那么车着跟过是，经过那么车把车开，我经过他浪，这马把让我在写谁被那往那往下。我真的这里去真的发送这差不多那样子，对，对吧？阿扎拉去了，那顶多阿扎拉去了。我这对，真的就是没来唐伯在那层多把起嘛，有人不是多把的起，这起的忙的着多，这里给趁着起的忙的着是多。真的他可以呢，因为日出这个是，上头呀，经常说第多，等我说头我给钱起过，是头我跟他那个多，我说是给钱起过，是的就是嘛来样最多。最对体重这个这天，他的对手在这个这天，真的这把农村这么在掐上来去，我在给这边呢，这边呢也是这里多，他给这边呢也是这全球人都上，我那多阿萨了，没不过上没钱不有他啊多上不，我在全球他自己这种就是没得在给谁那去，他在开始在多半的去，让你马上送这种掐了吧。我在吃喝圈中呢，现在看样嘛，别去年把钱的地方，这特别正常，基本上那圈里圈出长嘛些这农村中，其实旁边把钱多。我这其实这就是么来个，他给这路边那个设计圈出人都上。我这工真的，你们俩就是被公盘着下盘多钱不？咱们这么叫穷的是，那么的穷的，那么大罗斯我那才留着我。
So we're coming back. We are at in our text is number 7 in the middle of don't reject enemies and obstructions since they are inspiration for your innate nature. And so we were kind of in the middle of talking about that. And so we came to a story of by Milarepa. And there are many, that Milarepa has many stories, but there's this one example about the time when he stayed at the Red Rock Cave, the Zhonglong. And during that time, so he stayed in this Red Rock Cave. And during that time, he didn't have any food to eat at all, but he didn't even have wood to make a fire to boil some water. And so at some point, Milarepa thought to himself that maybe I uh, had given up too much. So maybe it's time to gather some wood. And so he went out to find some wood. And then a strong wind came. And when he reached the tree, the wind was so strong it took his ropes. So when he tried to hold on to the ropes, the cotton cloth, then the wind blew the wood away. And so eventually he just let it all go. But during this time, Milarepa's health was a bit deteriorated and it was also cold. So he passed out for a little while. And when he regained consciousness, the weather had uh, improved and his as he woke up, he saw his robe hanging on the tree and he took it down along with some wood and he then deeply missed Marpa and then sang this song, this kind of like six kind of verses of song of like missing his lama, like lamenting, crying for his lama. So he sang this song, remembering Marpa, and then he returned to his cave. And when he got there, there were some, they call them atara, so that is some kind of uh, apparitions, like spirit beings. And so when he came there, there were 7 of these atsaras there, these spirits there. And first, Milarepa tried to repel them, tried to turn them away. But as he tried to do that, their number only increased. So then he thought, well, I've stayed so long in retreat, so I should be more inviting. So he told them, "You stay here tonight. Let's talk tonight." And as he welcomed them, they began to disappear, dissolve one into the other. And so first, like one dissolved into the other, and those seven then just vanished, and then there was just one last demon left, and that actually turned out to be the demon king, Vinayaka, who came just in order to attack him with his terrifying magical illusions. And so Milarepa then realized that this is actually just this demon king trying to threaten him and try to play some tricks on him. And so instead of being afraid, he remained in the view of Dharmata. And then also this demon disappeared. And Milarepa realized that these were just miraculous displays. And when he realized that, that is then when his realization, his practice dramatically improved. So,
tene da choje zamba jere kes da choje zamba jere kes jenna sem su taji simni domba taji sta simni domba taji redo bangwe nenjor kankar singe shins nyamga waksa maji bin nansi lande la mini kede jikcha chorwa na jiban de da namtho de lokto rang ke semla do lupon je sam sem je sam debe ma dong chuwa hin chuwe she na ngon sa ngon sang ja slan do ta 我他这这趟他上班节的是当主播个剧是吧？主播个剧开，说多年的这那他这是吧？我他这上班节的开真的他经常xem差距，经常xem差距，是经常xem差距就这一天呢来了我是啥有嘛？这个那说好像突破有的话，这年呢他这年们要不要的工作中呢，差距突破的话，真他经常xem现在的咱们的那他，参加这个电竞的他。카레나 제 차온 거 같은 거 수파 차트 때는 남성 디스칼레 카보레 이나 타티가 냠내 강도야 지 매송치 거 효랑 나서 심리 동바 타지 서다 심리 더 동바 이 바라지 마도 와 타지 레도 방라 nenjo 봐 레도 방면 nenjo 다 레바 더 토화 야 레바 더 토화 메바 레도 니 nenjo 라스 강카 포지 생계시다 강카 포지 생계 뭐 생계스 르다 탐지 생기 농로다 我别才能一的，是你们那听着不让那的，生给才能一。你们话啥买鸡巴是你们话啥有嘛的，是你们把啥呀，相当于看呀有嘛的是，生给当一的是。nanti nanti lami nanti la dan je changme ke la ni ke ma le se ka shi na ke den jik cha cho ro chong yo na ke si dan jik cha da nga na swa chi na de ne ha jik ba de yang nam tho de so da jik ba de nam tho de da jik ba de se ro sem de nam tho cha de yo ba chen ni na da de nam tho de ha pa cha tu bo je yo sha ko de lam sang nam tho ba xie tu bia de ka le ka bo yo de 我这里这里呢，当然说这年呢，这个白松气贵，这但而且他们都是下乡镇嘛，两上白松气呢，国内工的，这呀，当然这上到当过去了，我讲说，老农人xem来东西，我在老块农户呀，这让xem带过来是，绿坡节上xem节上，那绿坡节的xem节带过来是，xem节里面绿坡节都就有嘛哇，我那些人说当时也不在期间，xem节了他我同样有嘛，但我那些呢，那啥这些用作也有嘛哇。 你那他如果在留下面之外，这如果在那行在现场在做我这如果在那咱们新的学那现在，我这样的真的如果在下面不管你现在考下来，现在当半年的，但如果在多些下场我从基本单子差不多有了，我这单子在强的学的也是。这边忙通出来，但现在让一嘛做吧，对吧？忙通这个你差是你差在让一差不多要有嘛吧的，我这出来也是。 출발시는 뭐 상지 난 출발 발시에 손에 상지로 그래서 나 제가 소신 주의서와
mhm.
송바다로스
So and there is a quote by a master called Sangpa Gyari, and so he says that having decisively recognized that all appearances are mind and that mind itself is empty, I rest appearances and mind. So the but when seeing appearances as mind, the mind begins to rest. So there is no that a yogi who abandons fixation or hope and fear is like a snow line in its mountain cave. So uh, we mm, we need to decide that what appears or what our perception of things is just our own mind. And of course, in the beginning, putting all of this into action isn't easy because of our habitual karmic patterns, the imprints in our mind that are very strong. But still, if we make an effort in the practice, we we can accomplish this. It is just that we may see that appearances are mind, but then again, this clinging, this fixation that things really exist to return. So it's hard at first, but we still need to keep going in the practice. A yogi who abandons hope and fear is like a snow lion in a mountain cave. A snow lion because the lion is said to be above all other animals, is not afraid of any other animal. Um, so such a yogin is without worry or hesitation. And when there is no worry or hesitation, the demons and spirits cannot find weakness. So they cannot find a weak point in you. And then it says that if fear and panic or terror arise, know that this fear is just a thought. So we have to train in that gradually. So he says, look straight, directly at your own mind when this fear arises. So is it the body that fears or the mind that fears? And looking, you will find nothing. It is just a confused, deluded perception. Actually, so it seems that we are physically we are afraid, but actually, it's the confused mind that fears. The body doesn't actually feel that fear. But for now, because body and mind are connected, the mind is worried about the body. In truth, the mind and the body are actually separate, and the mind is actually empty. And so it's the body that experiences pain and all kinds of sufferings, but it's not the mind. So when the mind that is actually empty begins to fear, then try to look at that fear. Where is it actually? You can't find it because it's just a deluded thought. Um, and so when that deluded thought dissolves, then um, primordial purity manifests, or in other words, enlightenment is then attained. So when you look at fear, you see that there is no real fear truly there. It is just a confused, deluded thought in the mind. And when that is cleared, then enlightenment manifests. So this master, by the way, this Lord Sangpagyari is a Drupa Kagyu master. So.
그래.
Mhm.
전에 다 대리 마을 송도 되네. 걔데 랑라 춘이 대비 대미나 스타 그지 랑 춘이 대비 대인 시라면은 노베 게라 서바 공 스타 서바 디스 공고스. 서바 공 춘이 냠나 상보 냠스 롱바이 인라스 데 서바 nenze 춘이 강 냠나 치도야 디스 펜그레스. 노지미나 서바 술공 다 노바치 미메 서바 술공 스타 컨트롤 랑야메 서바 술공 저 요한게 비교요나 말해 되더라.
진짜 애.
전혀 나이서 술공
그래서.
마시면 서바 술공 그래서
Mhm,
요한
mhm.
음 전에 대화 소바 술을 거면 소바 마곰나 바로 침바 저걸 제 상말 소바 마곰나 파지 저나라 제 상그 말아 나 좀 오요 니스제 자한다 원제 노바 진년 제 용나 소바 공야 배 개침 보여 살아 봐 와데 파리 침바 저국세 마상도 상제 공방 토고 말이스 this is Patrick taught menu, Sandra is on Soba Gomne, and that dragate of you will simply to be trot on you. What is it in Soba Gom say on the end of Chagares? What in the Drupanum Nachiala, the Nimbo, one of Chagares. Pendong machine, so what the pendong has a child was pendong and okay. Nobody to the pentorch in it, Yamlaya would cheat to be out and peg it one. Or some the Mepon Tantanans, Soba Gom is on them. Dragate la Toma Mogo, so what the Movachina dragate more tumble move is. The chest of being driven, that you the zone, the chest of being driven. De la Toma Darde was and the Toma and that more reason to that leather. She be so be Jews, yes, on Becheros. Or that is on the other Mepon Yamlake Yamsi to Sushi by Ina. Jordan to more drum joking. Jordan to more drum joking. Jordan to more Jonathan Handashi in Yamnas. That's what tomorrow conditions and I don't do. Think you that I the man too so that
Mm.
that sleeping for hand.
Mm. And then and then it says even if you lack confidence in the view of ultimate reality, if you practice patience, if you cultivate patience toward harmful enemies and obstructing forces, it is that there is no greater practice than the practice of patience. And so when in the Bodhicharya Avatara, it also says that without enemies, who would you practice patience with? Without patience, one of the 6 perfections is missing. And if it is missing, then Buddhahood cannot be reached. So therefore, if someone actually harms you, that's your chance to practice. It's important to practice patience at that time. So therefore, instead of pushing enemies and obstacles away, treat them like friends, helping you attain enlightenment, and therefore see them as true, true benefactors. And therefore dedicate the merit of your patience, of your practice to them. And also in the Bodhicharya Vatara, it says, the fruit of patience should be offered, should first be offered to them, as they are the cause of your patience. They help you develop patience. So therefore, if you transform hardship in this way instead of rejecting it, as a result, you will gain the common, the ordinary, and the supreme accomplishments.
Or that Jidante Junju not tell you, Soba that we got what me. She don't that we declare me, Soba that we got what me is. What does she don't want to declare Chimbo, Sarah, she don't show Chimbo not to do. They are that Soba Gumian Bella will matter, Soba that we got what me is. Or she don't that we declare Soba that we got what not what we one but she is. There is all that the time not so chin, how gone that Soba and then she goes.
So again, this quote in the Bodhicharya Vatara that says, there is no greater practice or austerity, no greater practice than the practice of patience. And there is no greater negativity or evil negativity like anger. So anger is really a great negativity. And practicing patience isn't easy to do. And therefore, we have to apply different methods. Whenever anger arises, you have to apply different methods and consistently, with the effort, try to cultivate a state of true patience. And so,
Oh, then that my phone with you, what in that doing battery. Or doing bad that show and you know, or even my phone, that show logic they go. Yamne, say, then Yamne Chivi Neka and two chain, Casala did that the logic changed and upon where Maris more of nowadays. What to do, Zondo.
then we come to the next verse. which is number 7 or 8 in our book. It says, don't reject whatever comes naturally, since it is a sign of success. In other words, so when signs of accomplishment arise naturally on their own, there is no need to abandon them. They are actually signs of accomplishment. So,
真的这样是咱年着起别这是年着起这，但也当们去弄边上，俺女全部应用咱们的这把去把伊呢，这了头发全部去利用，来到你了，点的我这没有，是吧？这来到你点的我这用嘛的是的。
and when practicing retreat or meditation, when you engage in practice, if you hope for visions of a deity, or prophecies, or great like, verbal powers, then if you have these hopes, along with that doubt will eventually also arise. And accomplishments cannot arise when you're caught between hope and fear, because these so-called attainments, then actually your hope for these attainments turn into obstacles.
我真的，但是啦，我这多年来呢，我这么就我进用的是，把它没出来，是把它没出就这个啥了。我听到这句话，我是这这了。你他了，先把他当中呢，上街拖把子，满中呢，你把东西这东西，说他这你打中，先打中在穷的上这把清不起，第四穷呢别个呢，其实上街拖的那一个呢有，他在满中呢都能分得起，这他这东西呢，他从这有，那么这。这动物咱们用是，当然有吧，那这把大看到嘛，它就重要的这把了。可是这把看着是吃了吃脱了够吧那一，农业人就光别说，他吃了吃脱身体啥的，他别讲这是俺都嘛去都嘛在当着哇，去那都嘛的日日都在当着哇，这节日吃了嘛破个哇，这破就吃头三小时了吧，这把日日有了天呐，都嘛穷穷日，这说。七头塞，七头他原来在多嘛在当时个康的他两人呢，咱够多有啥了？我真一旦俺这多在在大才嘛的在穷呢，咱在够的呢，在穷都搞来考过的话，这个人们两个那时候嘛，然后我真的当先把了先把进呢，我们就是说，你们俩共同都有嘛的是，农多长腿，主要是农业多长呀，你看我咱得怎么当上去不？냠라 열심히 좀 외든 동로 다가 냠라 치 야리 누구마다 가래 다다 세마 충마도 자 그리고 지딘 데베 갈래래 제당 알아서 당선 아 그리고 내가 어서 말해 다 되는 잠도 지보 당디나 되네 냠냐 가야 공변도도 요요 말어가 되면서 소소소소 다들 가도 얘기 나오겠다 삼산 다들 이제 너는穷呢在搞我呢这嘛就都啊가도你热多你我只做这냠냐 공변도도 요 말해
Then it is stated in a teaching called Bara was Malchub. Also Bara's, what is it, Malchub? Like it's like a Nyarenka Gichue. So like it Bara's in the middle. So Bharava is a Drupa Kagyu Lama, and Malchu seems to Mal is like kind of like a bedtime practice, basically. So the bedtime practice of Malchu. So it says that so eventually attachment to signs, whether hoping for them by day or at night, creates so much hope and fear that we constantly just think, if these signs appear, I will attain Buddhahood. But then if they don't, I will fall into hell. And then when a little sign appears, you get so excited, you're almost enlightened. But if no sign appears, you get depressed and you lose all hope. So eagerly meditating while waiting for signs, it says it's like a dog waiting for someone to throw a water dorma. So there's this kind of water dorm, it's a dorma offering, that we often make. And so if you're a practitioner who regularly makes this dorma offering, then the dog already knows you make this offering. So he's already waiting, he's expecting it. And at the moment you throw the dorma, you offer the dorma, the dog goes and eats it. So because you do it all the time, the dog already knows you're doing it. So it's already waiting for that dorma. And so similarly, if we always just wait for these signs, we can't actually practice because we're just thinking about something else. We're thinking about those signs, but we don't actually practice. And then when signs do appear, um, obsessing over them will just bind us, and progress then stops. And the wind energies, it says, become stuck in the upper body. And so that's referred to as the demon blocking spiritual growth. So you wonder constantly, why don't I have any signs? Why am I not improving? And with these kind of thoughts in the mind, you're actually not practicing, you're thinking about these kind of things. And as a result, practice is not going to improve because the mind is caught up between hopes and fears. A little good thing happens, you get excited, and if not, then you suffer again. And so, kind of being stuck in that place, the practice will not improve. So.
真的是真的，真的是热岛没把去，那你们俩去过是？那热岛是穷穷去，那你们俩没去过的是？这大有呢，这没呢，大有没去怕是大有嘛的是？连这里，那连这里切切的这样。我这牛毛说对特别，那么大特别去，那得是，你们俩去大的是大米呢，大就才大才的是，那么我会切成这样，切着汤汤切成这样。我真的身边应届切的这样，我这代就这是一些切的这样，所以说就牛毛什么穷的着，我这里头那真的大米呢，大巧的吧，他特别是，我这么做，他就这么来的吧，你嘛。微巧的呀，吃饭使用多，给他们吃饭的是出来。我提起他微巧，你们现在看着的这个程度下，开始他这那么看着呢，这他一旦怕写谁特别这多下，我他那个写什么的种多什么来。我这看着农田挺出去特别的这，那么这那个写什么的，做我这三分的路是多的，你们去过的是，我这多从他这你们的种多。我听就这是大巧总是我大米吧大上巧，所以他这里是你们是穷这样子吧？我都出不他这里去吧，没我都出他这里去是要嘛的是啊，出他去我这里是但你们在那公司开始去嘛这里是。
So therefore, practice the Dharma without hopes or fears, whether signs appear or not. Just keep practicing the genuine Dharma, which is believe in karma, cause and effect, and tame the afflictive emotions. It is actually said that the supreme sign is no sign. And there is no greater sign of accomplishment than that. So if you just have, for example, if your devotion to the guru increases and your compassion for sentient beings increases and your belief in karma increases and there's fewer afflictions in your mind, that is actually the best sign. And once Milarepa was in central Tibet and met with some Kadampa lamas. They were, discussing their various. There were Lama Dabachik. He was one monk, actually, one Kadamba monk. And so they were talking with Milarepa about, he was talking with Milarepa about his accomplishments in practice. And so he said at one point that he could see the Viram deity directly. And Milarepa said, but that's nothing special. And then he said that he claimed that he had received direct prophecies from the Dakinis. And again, Milarepa said, it's nothing special. Because what really matters, he said, is to realize the true nature of the mind. Just to see the nature of your mind, that's the true sign of accomplishment.
대송에
So,
전에 다 저거지 그 가르송 그러잖아. 다 대송도 뭐로 초 녀모 지정 송화데. 이 상으로 난 녀모 총 들어 있다. 당으로 나 약속이스. 접사 초는 도바 지정 송화데. 저거다 접사 초는 도바 지정 송화데스 계속 받아로스. 먼저 뭐좀 좀 외래와 맞잡죠. 초시 냠스네 바네 와 라쇼주는 뭐로 이베만 파스와다. 그 쇼를 총는 뭐로 이베만 파스라 제가 그거 들으래도 maybe 난 생으로 쇼이다는 다 도서 방거야 요 말했어. 그것에 효를 좀 들어봐. 매번데스 초공으로 라메키 지나 효린 좀 도바이스. 매초상 로지 치다 시야도 하면 어떤 초공으로 라메 지나 더랑 뭐 호이데.我这说的呢，都个来是多的球就不来是，在马说的这边从的忙不在，他那个这商界图标，你咱们这商界嘛，但一当他写是样的话，他在另外嘛公司上被从多这边了，这可是其他多图嘛的是啊。我真的推荐给我说，我他边角说对吧？千年拉片，我真千年拉成片，就是过了嘛，这里现样，南看坡那个沙湾水那个，去了没人说，你没那么对吧？没几讲。라쇼 수준은 뭐로 있어? 어떤 라쇼 수준은 뭐로 그래? 스테면 지상 남간 버리 안 하면 최진과 아디아도 되려 용매 시바에 삼아라. 그리고 라시 기세다 말아래 반다고 되려 좋나? 대체 쇼기 때문에 뭐로 있어 봐. 어쨌다 방고야 말에 정도.
sorry, yeah. So then Lord Atisha said the supreme accomplishment is the diminishment of afflictive emotions. And the supreme sign of attainment is the diminishment of desires. So you shouldn't hope or strive for signs of accomplishments. But if these signs naturally arise through genuine Dharma practice, then they are real signs of accomplishment, and then they don't need to be rejected. So if they arise within a state devoid of hope and fear, then they are actually cities and don't need to be abandoned. Then the highest city comes from the blessings of the guru, and and they cannot be forced. These blessings and these cities cannot be forced with effort or intellect. So just trying really hard to see the Yidam or have some other special signs, trying many different things, and kind of trying to outsmart the process is not going to work. So, for example, if certain accomplishments, even ordinary accomplishments, such as like wealth or fame and gathering many disciples, or powers like flying in the sky or passing through solid objects or walking on water, if any of these ordinary signs or becoming invisible, if any of these signs arise on their own, without any hope or fear or any expectation about them, then they are authentic accomplishments too, and they don't need to be abandoned. So some people may be able to fly in the sky using certain mantra power, for example, but the real CD, the accomplishment, is effortless, just like Emil Repa's case. It comes naturally from realization. So.
전에 다들이 말세 정도한테 대송 매자 방 강충양 시바 냠스네 바지치 레도这个操场来到没把中间让没，我把送把但是前年是榜样，没碰，你咱们推送没家把康穷样，用西把了，你们那最新把那来到，没把你们当你们是过说是介绍过场被，送的是介绍过场被堂客，堂客就是给么给样的问题，俺这吧，堂客就是俺这样出表，堂客这里我这样出样的问题，但是有的是过场被对象有啥了的。我听对他想晓得情况，是不个错没把开起，我听对 that's a good. 나만 거나 두개 지나다 참가된 용표서로 봐. 근데 두소는 가서 미바지. 어제 그 샘샤자 친구 샤데나. 나 가서 치도야 아마. 저자 친구 로뇽 반도 고쇼로 와세는 제도 파체더라. 가서 치도요 말와 그 샘샤자 친구 내로도 어디나. 어제 가서 미바 케시스. 내로 다베 디마지베 준투두케. 내로 다베 데이마지는 제라. 다제 준투나 동지 다메. 데나테네 듀크스 che zuntu tong shi ge des de jisu ma la de ba ni ma ze zuntu da tong nam kha ze po ro sa ba de po du kong lo ma se me de fa se tin do te zen po de mi de di ska ma sa to shi me po to mo do ya te jisu ma le ge da chi no da da tu su ko na le ba ma shu te du ma ji se ze da song do wa de ta ko nyam le te ting su me le ze chi de mi de要把这一啥的，这里是从哪的？咱们来种熊的，咱们来起么头头把这熊的有啥的意思？种了帮了没把它掐死，帮种了帮嘛的，原天了个错没把掐死，我这种了帮里去了的过去嘛的，咱们来悄悄新闻那路去，咱们来起的，种了帮的过，啊一个把种了他的过是，今咱们那路特别等于那的呢，种他的过是，原天了个错没把掐，但原天了个错切到呀嘛是，这种去东亚熊样。帮了没吧？这人肉去东岸开始穷了，这身边路当有嘛是帮了些，上街到他们街，但有那来说吧，帮穷人，干错了没吧？那上街到有那但开始上那有那开始穷了，这种干错去没几吧，送不到了，我在这里这种的是。
So therefore, it says, regard any experiences that arise without excitement, hope, or fear, and don't deliberately reject accomplishments, and don't and neither allow doubt creep in by asking, "What does this mean?" Whatever arises, let it be naturally in a space of awareness that is just open and without any grasping. Then, as Jake Goldsangbam had said, pankas, images of deities, may smile, they may recite the mantra sound may come from the tanka, or light rays may shine from the tanka, as has happened in the past with some masters. But even then, he says that let it be and remain without excitement and recognize all of these appearances as the mind of Mahamudra. And so Mahamudra practice requires a state of one taste or equal taste, a state of equanimity. So without becoming excited or depressed. When one realizes the natural state, then these feelings of excitement and dejection, they won't arise. But then if the natural state is not realized, then even powers or cities, so to speak, can become obstacles. It is said that even demons can send visions, divine visions, and you won't recognize it if you're not grounded in the confidence of the view. So what you need is to be backed up by the confidence in the view, in the natural state. For example, once Milarepa was with a disciple, Sebenrepa, and so Milarepa at that time he flew across the sky, and his disciple Sebenrepa saw that, and he tried to do the same. So he kind of put his foot in the ground and was about to jump off. I guess the cliff, but then Milarepa told him, "Don't do it. This is not your time." Meaning that if your realization is not grounded in this confidence of the view, then such attempts can actually become obstacles. So one should not reject faults, but allow them to self-purify just through practice. And don't chase any qualities, but allow them to ripen naturally without any hope for them. And even if the sufferings of the six rams arise, don't try to push them away. Even if the fearlessness or powers of the Buddhas, Bhumis, and Pas arise, kind of appear, don't get excited about it, but remain stay even and grounded in the natural state. So,
저는 지금은 알아봐 다다디 다 레총바 착자 신부 현재 제조 치 나오서로 레총바 냠나치 데리고 다 냠지 야고 제 샤로서 대통 냠지 제 주모 많이 와서 냠 샤로서 냠나치 데 그 샤르데 당에 라마 말아래 봐라 냠난들이 냠나시자 이오는 좀 생각이 봐 지금 말아래 봐 근데 저 소사래 레총 송데 쇼기야 지금 난지 와서 지금 말아래 그 어다 지나서 냠냠으로 총도 같은 게 하고 송스 我特意对这趟去了你们那去把它也不认识，但那么没来的怕了，这些你们那有几马怎么样的就，这些马来人弄多的呢，那花起着吧的，可能这中国那这么多的，没来的把它说就马上的呢，没来的别给这查子那怕你最错你最的，最土多，这人南瓜东吧，那是东都安中给差多，这种查怕你最的拉话怕对拉话能差不，那最多就可能多晓得，那感觉办的这。这就挺多，我的哪块差不差不有了，甚至差不有啥的，这种的，但这边的话，钱有嘛，我想嘛，也有点差不差多是，没那这把钱的差这里的个上的把配做配的，你说啥了吧？
um, one time, Milarepa stayed with Ray Chungpa, his disciple, and so that was the time when Milarepa gave him teachings on the co-emergent Mahamudra. And so Rajungba was practicing, and he developed some very special experiences of bliss and emptiness. And so as he kind of dwelled in this experience, he wondered, I wonder if my guru Milarepa actually even has this kind of experience. I don't think even his experience can be as great as mine. But he had this thought. And then one day early in the morning, the next day early in the morning, he went to Milarepa's cave just to see him. And so Milarepa then said to him, so you probably have gained some good experience, you have some realization, but there is a small mistake. The mistake is that you think that I don't have this kind of experience. So Milarepa knew exactly what Rejungpa was thinking, and he said that this thinking became an obstacle for you. And so then, meanwhile, Milarepa he walks kind of straight, moves straight through solid rock wall, and in his cave. And Rejungpa just tried to follow him, but then he just hit the rock, and his hand got a bit injured, and then he had regrets. So Ridungba couldn't move through the rocks because he still had some subtle grasping in his mind. And because Milarepa had no more grasping in his mind, he could move unobstructedly through the rocks. And so that is really the state of Mahamudra. So
嗯。我真的咋可的是那小的种呢？我这边把种把这小的嘛种的这把家，讲是小的嘛种，他在俺上街开始在不大点子这把家那，你看没出去，说去把他家驱动，你看在没他没开我驱动，他在全家没得动呢，在从他当下的甚至气功这个联合我的也是，我他家驱动去，你把这过程，你打所做吧，那对于和这三年半的我过程中，我咋想呀？每年到这边，他都发现就个类似，可是你们俩是发现慢慢就个类似的。他都有现在你是看到没这一段也所有嘛类似，但你们俩是发现这样，这都发现是。我听的因为帮忙切为个通，但把我是在小了嘛，用的是把帮我小穷点的这帮就嘛类似的。
Um, and then, since it is said that attainments arise spontaneously, naturally, pursuing them with hope and using worldly cleverness with hundreds of methods and thousands of strategies to obtain gain and honor, fame, all of that is the work of demonic obstacles and therefore is to be abandoned. So so demons, so-called demons or demonic obstacles is not necessarily some being with an open mouth and bulging eyes, but they are whatever blocks your practice. So when the experience arises naturally on its own, it doesn't need to be abandoned, however. So
다들이 말 손텐도 왔다. 다디 제바들이도 탑람 강양 시랍 람도 바리베 메밤 탑 람 강양 시랍 람도 바 탑람 카리나 데 시랍 람도 야시드레스 와드네 어즈방 말레스 다니도 아주 전조도 말레 군조블라는 마텐바 담배 통도 마저스 군조블라 마텐은 담배 통도 좀 말하고 탑데 군조블라 원도 쇼사레 또 시랍 통도 통고 말레스 남도 바이 메판스 와드 탑 군조 방고 말레스 그래서 탑 이제 냠냐치도 탑랑베 나 잠니 이제 장초 셈라서 여러 와서 방담도 말했어. 방어야 시작을 말했고.
then we come to the next verse, and number 9 here, and it says, "Don't reject any type of method, since they are stepping stones for knowledge." So in the Bodhicharyavatara, it says, "Without the relative truth, you cannot realize the ultimate truth." Or in other words, without method or skillful means, you cannot realize wisdom. And so method or skillful means here refers to love and compassion. Without so love and compassion is something that we need, and not something to abandon. So
다르지 잔 투몽 냠당 투몽 많이 배쳐자 전부 똑반 오송 도장 다동 되니 탑이 고동바 타 친구 무스 테마템 테마타 네 테마타 데 바데 시제타 탑세나 탑 군조 기된 바다 뉴지 개발죠 짐소 바로 신방 아서다 탑 공도 그래스 믹시에기다 자랑 장가 있는 자롱 그냥에 지야라서 봐. 어디서 이 탑람스라고 하다 저서 인사로 어 탑람스 어디서 간다 탑직 냠내데 셔랍 제싱기 보내 치고 저보다 바로 침바 좋은데 신나다 그래서 넘버 메토드 제싱고 저 라피와니 되고 나이 어디네 들 셔랍 제싱고레스
so this means that even if one realizes the meditative experiences or the extraordinary realization of Mahamudra, any experience must still fully integrate that realization with skillful means to reach the ultimate result. We still we need the skillful means or method to reach the ultimate goal. And so in general, it says skillful means or method refers to the relative truth and the conceptual virtues, such as the 10 virtuous actions and the paramitas like generosity and so forth. And so specifically in the context of secret mantra, skillful means also includes practices like practicing with the channels and winds. But in any case, in any case of practice, skillful means must be united with wisdom. So that the through this union of skillful means and wisdom, one attains the fruition of the two kayas. So,
근데 탑시 중된 지부 군이 공방 톱고 탑이상 시랍이야 마데와 치고바 케체스 타쇼지 람로나 세종어스 람로나 탑상 제베 시랍 제베 탑죠 강전 칭이시 탑다 탑체 탑상 제데레 시랍이나 시랍 제 탑이나데 칭레 시니카 방마자서 어디 방마레 계속 타과르시 시랍이 혼동의 탑이 동고 소는 시랍이 혼동야서 탑 워크 탑的前面就强做什么说吧，他说탑的，我做你们那期间呢，这些了不要活动怎么样？这有的是，我탑람 네 셔랍데 바로와 덴바라 시베데 스다제 아주 탑람데 제 달라고라 탑람데 제 자동 구매한다 것도 제 냠네 여보穷呢 这小子全部都要超起头给我这对这他탑람 때문에 셔랍데小子全部进我这셔랍 그다 다 덴바 시베 람테 타버데스 된 종공 샹 남탈레스 종공 샹 남탈레스 탑을 맞추나小子全部加码提多换通透结讲 냠뇽 게 세미바 지구도 도반도 세와 종목구가 종목구가 지구로 쇼데 탐랑 재미 공발라 냠뇽 워진 페르고베 단 종목구가 센 종원도 다 카차죠 마라코나 지구도 그래 센 종을 앞에 나지 당데 지구 팽 말스
종카다 죽으면데.
종즈 계절라야 요 말와
어,
계절라야 요 말자이는 사 룸바 동바도 코나 지구 데이도 그러와
음,
지구 데이들 지구 팽 말스 남표사라
음,
되네 탑람 재미 원발라 냠토 페스 되네 또과 냠뇽 제시 좀바 좀바 당스我在这个是我想的嘛
um, sorry. See. So the next it says it's stated in the biography of the Dogon. Sorry, there was one before. Lord Atisha first states in the Lamp for the Path to Enlightenment. He says that, so Lord Atisha says, without wisdom, without method, and skillful means, without, like wisdom without skillful means, and skillful means without wisdom, are both bondage. Therefore, do not abandon either of the two. And so wisdom must be strengthened with skillful means. And so again, skillful means means to train in love, compassion, and bodhicitta. So skillful means acts as a foundation that supports and stabilizes wisdom. So when you train in skillful means or love and compassion, bodhicitta, your wisdom becomes stronger and more stable. Or if you practice the path of skillful means, such as with the channels and the drops, when your path is stable, then Mahamudra can truly arise. So when skillful means is present, then the wisdom building on it becomes reliable or stable. And then it is stated in the biography of Dogun Chang, and he says that when
想起话了不是可能没我听你嘛那格局见多他经常提起吧有嘛起话格局实现多 你嘛起话格局实现有了他有嘛的他提起吧别些
Chang Chebare.
我这这里嘛就把格局实现有了你嘛呢
So his full name was actually Dogun Shang Tseva. And so Tseva was actually an offspring of the Kagyu lineage, or it's a kind of a sub-lineage within the Kagyu lineage, but it has since disappeared. But so he was the holder of that lineage. So his name was Dogun Shang Tseva. And so he said that when cultivating Mahamudra without training in the path of skillful means, even if one's realization is very high, without the vital force of direct experience, one remains stuck. one is like a mute wild yak remaining stuck in one place. So they just apparently don't go anywhere. And so I guess that's pointless. So when you practice the skillful means of unborn meditation, or well, you practice skillful means within your practice of this unborn state of meditation, the direct experience grows rapidly, and realization and experience become inseparable. So,
哦，真的，大这里嘛，这是老乡是吧？哦，真的，他可得理解他，我阳光杯中多，接着阳光杯，接着阳光杯多话他讲嘛，那娘们去讲嘛，讲讲嘛，意思多话他讲嘛，娘们几个讲讲嘛的意思，强他你这强学什么什么汤，感觉是提起呢，是吧？他强你这强学什么什么嘛，这个过是他，我这个呢也推常他们记得那面模会那天写，他那面模会是过学的，他不得。都没得从娘们你女是吧？这都没得从这差不多了吧？我这写了给我那我弄我把英中把他的在这写了对吧？通过英语给的，他们那起诉起呢，他那起诉给我穷穷是起诉先对嘛的，没给就是的那这娘们起诉过嘛了，上街出过嘛了，这块有些上街出过嘛了吧？那这块穷穷是什么起诉起？我叫这全部都快下都这这块嘛了吧？我这看嘛，真的没碰上，差不多那么空嘛，那么他没别的，是我这差不多那么空吧，别急就没来这办着我，那刚不把那说吧，我这说那么他大，我这说真的，我这遇到是结果的也是，他不希腊从这娘们是那过说，是我这他不希腊从这那咱娘们是那过的种多。
um, and then a master called Jarva Yanggompa, he said that to maintain that realization, you must sustain it through direct experience. Therefore, make devotion to the Guru your constant practice. Focus diligently on love, compassion, and bodhicitta as the heart of your path. Firmly stabilize the experience of the empty bliss of Tumo, and use skillful means to enhance the power of wisdom. So rather than dismissing skillful means as inferior, uh, think and thinking that the view of wisdom alone is higher, uh, you should follow the example of the great masters of the past. Like look at the life stories of Milarepa and Gampopa and so forth, and how they practiced. Practice the inseparable union of method and wisdom. So if you think that this is just um, this is just a small negative thing, so you commit any of the 10 non-virtues and you think this is just a small thing, but I practice Mahamudra, or this is just a small virtue, I don't need it, I practice Mahamudra. And in this way, by dismissing these kind of basic practices, you cannot attain enlightenment. So
哦呀，他真咱们气象都供他查送的呢，这上年的嘛的，那对他起码的嘛起。我他这我们家干的事，俺说咱们去的话，他一来新闻嘛，看上是看上他别讲的，对是蛮多的，俺咱们俺推出了，那马查对真的俺推出马拉的强多，小对咱个原来嘛别讲老样子，去哇。
So then we stop the teachings here for tonight, and we continue next week. And so sometimes we do include some meditation after the teachings, but since it's quite a long text and we have to go through it a little bit steadily, so that's why sometimes we just don't have the time. We have to cover quite a few pages here, but we will do it next time. So see you then.
要个这里给先去跟总共，呃，那个，嗯，那些萝卜。 page 27. page.
Glorious, shall I read? Yeah, okay. Glorious, holy, venerable, precious, kind, root and lineage lamas, divine assembly of Vedams and assemblies of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, heroes and heroines, Yogini and assembly of Dakinis, dwelling in the 10 directions, please heed me. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all sentient beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, pride, and jealousy not arise within my mind. May thoughts of fame, reputation, wealth, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta, and through that may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. Even at death, may the torment of suffering not arise. May I not die with negative thoughts. May I not die confused by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind as such, and in the pervasive clarity of Dharmata. May I, in any case, gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the bardo.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.